Hey guys, welcome back to Parkitect. Welcome to a new diorama month. This is the month of September, and Coaster Bee has presented us a dueling powered coaster. Power coasters are pretty dumb. I don't like them. I don't care for them, but it's an interesting challenge though that this is built like this. Mr. Unit actually built this layout, so give him a shout out for that. And then what's different on this map is we have two entrances that we have to kind of decorate. And then depot is set way over here, which is not a bad place for the depot. Depot is actually a pretty good spot. So I think that's an easy way to kind of cover it. The theme to pick this month, I had a couple. I had a Mario themed, and then that kind of fell through. And then I jumped on to do a submarine ocean theme because I viewed the trains as submarines, kind of, because they're very sci-fi looking, very smooth fronts, and they have these fins in the front as well. So I decided to do a submarine type of theme. And so yeah, we'll just get on to the time lapse then, and I'll see you over there. Okay, here we go. The first things first is to kind of set up the time lapse basically. So I already did a whole bunch of work on a live stream probably like at least 2 weeks ago of this recording. So if you want to check that out, you can. It's just me trying to figure out what I wanted to do and figure out some of my theming. In that live stream, I built a submarine station or building for the station for the coasters, and that was not good, and that got deleted. And then now we're at this point where you see here, I'm working on some better theming for the station and just a better thought out way, because I wasn't really feeling it when I was live streaming it that day. But it happens when you're making things, creating things, you kind of just kind of wing it, and this was kind of that winging was during that live stream. Right now I'm going to figure out the actual shape of said station. So this theme's kind of a mix of things, as I want to say it. Like, so I try to stay away from sci-fi as much as possible, but I do love doing sci-fi. Sci-fi is very easy for me. So I decided to do a more sci-fi building than before. So it's going to be a lot of angles, so like a lot of diagonals, a lot of silvers, blues. And I wanted this to be like the submarine station for the subs to kind of then explore the deep. That was kind of the idea. The other idea for the whole build was to make it like an indoor park. So two sides of the map is covered up in walls with some decorational, I think, waves and bubbles. And then that's basically the indoor part. And then everything else is kind of just, that's like a cutaway into the indoor part of the park. So just imagine that this coaster's inside a building, and then that's kind of how it goes. So that was kind of the main theming here for the day. The whole, I don't know, this month was kind of weird for me personally, because it's just kind of getting back into the swing of building some, just new month, new build. I always have to either one-up myself or try a different theming, and that's always sometimes a hard thing to do. So this was kind of that in this situation. And I want to do something completely different from what I originally have done before. So I haven't done an ocean theme before in my dioramas. I don't think. Let me think. No, I have not. I have not done a like ocean theme in a while. And I had some like parameters of what themes I pick depending on the coaster. So because it is a powered coaster, I didn't want to change the trains. I know you can with Coaster Anarchy. Yeah, only Coaster Anarchy you can change the train type. And I felt like that was kind of, I don't think it's respectful to the coaster that was presented as the challenge. So I give myself an extra challenge by accepting the train car as it is. And the train cars for the powered coaster is atrocious. They are just not the prettiest cars in the world. I don't know what they're modeled after. I know that they're modeled after some like default manufacturing of a powered coaster. So I'm assuming that this powered coaster is modeled after the Mack Rides version. That's what I'm thinking. It probably is. They look pretty close to what I've seen of powered coasters on the internet and things of that nature. So I just wanted to keep it kind of the same coaster. So as I've said in the intro, they look like submarines. So one's going to be yellow, one's going to be orange. They come out of this submarine bay, and I think I called this place Discovery 1. So the whole map's called DeepSea Discovery. It's the whole theme of it, or the whole name. So that actually worked out really well. I do like that. So this is just a redesigning of my station. So I went back to my sci-fi roots, because building something from scratch sometimes is always not the best way to go, right? It changes, not changes, more like you're working too hard to make that extra thing instead of just copying something. I'm not an architect, I'm not really a designer, I'm very amateur of all of this. Parkitect just might be able to think of ideas from my head. This is the best way to do it, honestly. Any building game right now, if you have an idea for a theme park and you're not the best builder, I still suggest that you still try a game like this and try to make your idea as realistic as possible, or just making it, well, into a model, because this is a model. You can get a better look of what you've done, and then later on you can actually improve said model because of that. So I feel like that this is very, very, very important to use this as a tool of imagination and creation, and yeah, that's just how I view this. This is how I view it, basically. So Freedom 2K has been a real help in all of this, because I flipped some pieces on their sides and other things of that nature, because again, Freedom 2K is very, very well done. You can manipulate pieces to your will, and what makes it really, really fun, but also frustrating at the same time, because I feel like I have to force myself on using it, even though I have this other skill set before Freedom 2K of when I just had Construction Anarchy. I just had this set of like, okay, I know what to do with the grid base and the horizontal lift. I'll know all that stuff before, and then Freedom 2K comes in and I'm like, okay, well now it's like Planet Coaster. Now I feel like I'm going into the Planet Coaster type of dump, because in Planet Coaster I have this feeling whenever I build something and something's not lined up, I focus on it and I can't ignore it, and then I can't enjoy the build that I'm trying to do. So that's another issue sometimes. That's just personally me. I don't know about you or the other builders, but this is personally how I feel when it comes to a Freedom 2K or the Gizmo tool in total. But I do like it, and I've done more Gizmo tool shenanigans in Parkitect than I did in Planet Coaster. So it tells me that Parkitect still holds that charm for me versus what Planet Coaster does. So all this is just opinion and feeling by me, so I wouldn't suggest you follow that. You have to go figure out on your own. But this is just my experience between the two different games. Now they both have Gizmo now at this point. So I just feel like Parkitect holds it a little bit better because all the pieces are resizable and recolorable. Planet Coaster, on the other hand, none of the pieces are rescalable and not all the pieces are colorable. So there is a restriction there somewhere. But restrictions can also be good too for the imagination. That's why I'm really, really excited for next month's challenge, because it'll be 100% vanilla. So no Construction Anarchy, and no Freedom 2K, and no scenery mod. So it's 100% vanilla. I'm more excited for that than ever. So I have at least, I think, 3 ideas to kind of rough. It depends on the coaster type though, because that usually dictates, as I said before. You always wait for your coaster to come out and then see what that dictates, because I thought Mario would work in here. There is a Mario build being built by another builder, and they're doing a phenomenal job on it. Probably better than I could probably do. But I didn't feel like this coaster deserved that Mario theming. So I decided to skip and do something completely different that I haven't done before, which is ocean themed. So I did that. I'm trying to remember what the mods I used. So I used Resort Tech, SpongeBob Tech, probably Sci-Fi Tech, and Yeehaw. So most of 210's mods I used in this build. Pirate mod especially, because it's well, pirate kind of makes sense to be for undersea and shipwrecks and stuff. So yeah, those are the mods so far. Right here is basically a shipwreck. That's going to be a restaurant for the area. So I'm using, those are shelf pieces from the Resort Tech mod actually. And they're scalable, which is really, really nice. So I made a bent out, like blown out pieces of metal at the bottom of the ship. That ship's not final actually, that changes out. Here I'm testing it out now, building it where it's going to go, and then using the gizmo to manipulate all the pieces I want. That took about, I think, I want to say 25 to 30 minutes doing that detailing. So I've also noticed that within Freedom 2K, when you start using it, you start adding more insane details that you really don't need to add, but at the end of the day, it's either makes it crazy amazing, or it's just basically on what you think. So that's basically what happens. That was an accidental placement of that blueprint. That ship is an old ship from, I think, a scenario of mine. I think it's called Crystal Waters Isle. So I accidentally did that. So I delete that and then replace. I actually use that blueprint because why do I have to build a new ship when I already have a ship set done? So I'm going to just place it down. So here it is placed. I cut it cut the back off because I've measured it right before, and then I'm just going to delete said back and then fill it in kind of, and then blueprint it, and then send it off into where it's going to sit later. But yeah, get rid of all the smoke because the ship's not alive anymore. It's sunk. It's at the bottom of the ocean. But this was, I think, the best way to cover up said depot instead of, the cheating way. That would be rocks. I think rocks is a cheating way to do it, even though I love doing rock work. So there's our ship, our lovely little ship. And then this restaurant sells submarine sandwiches and drinks. So it kind of is fitting for a submarine build that it holds that. So there's our wrecked metal pieces that I saved as a blueprint, put it in later, and then discoloring all the walls and pieces to make it look like it's old, and then having sand kind of piled up at the bottom, like as it was drifting down to the bottom of the ocean, it kind of just upset the sand. But again, this is also a indoor theme park, so I have to think about where the path is going to go and things of that nature. So that's basically what I'm doing here, is figure out some realistic things. I know that with this coaster, I don't know if I didn't do any transfer track. I don't know where you would even put a transfer track, to be honest. Probably the back end. But again, I don't think there's more than one train for this type of coaster. So to my knowledge, this coaster is modeled after a coaster in the F-Wings called Max and Morty's. And this is a dual powered coaster, same as this blueprint. So I think it's copied the same. I think Mr. Una just copied the layout. I think I've looked at it before, but I don't think there's a transfer track on that real version. Actually, let me just Google the coaster while I'm right here, because might as well. I don't think there is. From the pictures I can tell, it doesn't look like there is. No, it looks like the trains actually just house themselves in the station, and then I bet there's some type of way to change out trains if it's broken or not. Either take the trains off the track, or you transfer them to another set of track or something. I don't see any way. Maybe the transfer track is below the station. Maybe there's an elevator that pushes them down. I've seen that before, where there are elevators and things that lower trains into their maintenance area and then goes into the area. So I don't know about especially that coaster. So it's a nice looking layout. It's very, very wavy. So that also helped in my theme choice, was because as the coasters do a whole bunch of those helixes, I thought that there could be little POIs in each little helix. So that actually worked out really well. So again, I let the coaster kind of dictate the theme. I've done that with most of them, but some of them are very easy to theme. Let's say like wooden coaster. That could be anything. That could be the wooden coaster itself doesn't really dictate on a theme, but some do. So like the flying coaster or the inverted, that kind of dictated on the theme because of how the cars are built. So they're inverted. I was like, I need some flying type of thing or something, or well, not like that. Last month's was kind of like a different one. That was a completely different way I did it. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do Western and lava and wooden supports on my flying coaster, so that's a little different. But I usually let the coaster dictate its theme. Kind of how it goes. I wish we did. What is it called? Coaster is it called? I think it's called the wing coaster. The first diorama one. I wish we did that one again because I would love to redo it in a better way and maybe actually custom support it, because I didn't really custom support it in the first challenge when it was done. At least at this point, it's been 2 years. Wow. Yeah, this build challenge is really going along. I like it. So hopefully next month's build challenge will introduce some new players, because I've heard some that don't join this competition because it has mods, and so they feel like they're overwhelmed or outskilled, and so I hope that this one will bring in more players to kind of experience the challenge, because I think the challenge is very, very valuable in learning new skills, learning from others. It's just a really good way, and joining the community. It's not because, oh, I built the best coaster, I get to win. It's not about that. It never will be. It's just a fun way to kind of just show off your skill and share your skill with others. So I like it. I've always liked the diorama challenge. I think it's really, really great. I like that Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 does it as well. So that community still does it as well, and it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice that creative games are not like as aggressive as, let's say, players of a FPS. So this is pretty nice. So I enjoy most of it. So I'm done with my rambling about the build challenge, but as you can just watch the back screen here, just everything happening. So the next couple POIs, I'm going to build a wrecked ship out of border pieces to show the planks of wood. So I get to do that with, I think these are the thick border pieces. Just kind of experimenting where they should sit. I'm going to experiment different bow shapes. It works, it doesn't work. Walls, I tried to do using walls, and I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I don't need to do that. It doesn't look good. So even though I could have made the bow completely out of shapes or something using Freedom 2K, I wasn't feeling up to do the grunt work of that. Even though I could do it, but I just didn't feel like I needed to for this, because I still like to do my style building, because I do have apparently a signature. That's what other players say. And I don't know this really. I just build, trying to keep as close to Parkitect style as possible, even though adding like some realism to it. So adding curved looking paths and trying to stay off the grid as possible, but even if it's not possible to take it off the grid, I'll try to keep it on it or off it depending. But for like this boat, I built it first off in the straight position, and then blueprinted it and then rotated it 45 degrees to put it in the spot it needed to. I wanted to flip this upside down, but flipping blueprints with Freedom 2000 is very, very tricky, and it bugs out a lot. So it's not reliable. And I tried a whole bunch of times to try to flip this thing either on its side, or I think at a diagonal, or not necessarily diagonal, an up position diagonal. So it would be like 20 degrees up, and the bow would be going upward, like it landed more like it got cracked in half and then landed on its bottom, pointing up, so the mast and the front part of the ship would be going up toward the roof. That's kind of how I wanted it. That's what I envisioned in my head, but that didn't really translate well, so I had to compromise and just rotate it 45 degrees, which actually helps, because again, just if you played Freedom 2K with just 45 degree setting set, I think it gives all your builds a step up instantly, because you don't have to go to the craziness of doing the 22.5 to make circles or doing 0.4. It's like you don't have to do that. If you're just jumping into Freedom 2K for the first time ever, I suggest you just do it to 45 and you're you're good. Just experiment with that, because just doing that, you can make barrels at 45, you can take boxes at 45. It makes it just a completely different game by just doing that type of feature, and it's nice. It's actually really nice. So, as I just continue to work on said ship. Oh yeah, I just remembered the other mod I'm using is Fancy Tech. So fences are really useful in this build, because we've got some nice wooden ones and got some nice iron ones for like wrecked things, so I get to use those. Ooh, excuse me. I just sneezed. I'm gonna edit that out. That's okay. So where were we? Oh yeah, vines are used as seaweed. We're gonna make a broken mast here. I like most of the pieces from. So I used most of the pieces from the Yeehaw set. So those are the Mesa rocks. Those are really good. Those are really good to be like almost any rock. You just color the tones pretty close to each other. I do enjoy that, so it's pretty good. So let's see here. What else are we working on? Working on some more mountains. Bringing out some track supports and things. This coaster really didn't need that much custom supporting. Not really. I just kind of made more supports in areas because the coaster did despawn a whole bunch when you kind of build it at this close quarters like this. So had to still build some type of supports to help out with that. So on to building the sign for the restaurant, Submarine Cafe, because there's sub sandwiches inside, so might as well just call it Submarine Bay. Not Submarine Bay, sorry. Submarine Cafe. Oh my gosh. Submarine Bay might be a scenario. Ooh. I like that idea. Submarine Bay. I'll write that down. Submarine Bay scenario. Cool. Okay. So I always wanted to build some type of like marquee with a submarine on it. So like Submarine Voyage from New Zealand. So this one's really modeled after that, as you can tell. Has the tower in the center, got the round ports. It's yellow, it's very round. It's like, oh yeah, I want this. This is really good. So I had a lot of fun doing this build. It's always a Astro build with at least some type of custom signage, because it's very important for realism and to kind of give you the idea that this is a theme park, because most of their signs are going to be very cartoony in nature. And I can't not have a build without an actual submarine. So this submarine is actually modeled after a picture I found on ArtStation. It's like an Overwatch submarine for the video game Overwatch. So it's like someone made a concept art for this submarine for like a map or something. Not sure why they made it, but they made it just to showcase their skills. That's usually what ArtStation is about. It's artists usually showing off their skills in type of video game art or movie art, depending. So I just kind of copied the submarine, kind of the same shapes, the oranges, the whites, the grays. And this is going to be like more of a miniature explorer sub. So this sub is exploring all the wreckage in the area. There is a blue pole holding it. You just really can't see it from this angle, but it's there. All the props that are like fish or subs are supported by blue poles that kind of just give you that illusion of this is an indoor park with some props that are on sticks, because why not? So just imagine like all the seaweed that you've seen lately, like either they're strung up by string or they're stiff. They're like plastic towers of seaweed, so not necessarily real. So just trying to imitate being underwater without being underwater. There's a really cool ride in Tokyo Disney Sea that does this. It's called 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and it's a what's the term for it? Dry scene? Yeah, I think it's called a dry scene. So it's supposed to be underwater, but all of it is dry. So when you get into the submarine, the glass portals have water in between the glass, and the bubbles are pumped into it to simulate that you're underwater. So you are not even underwater at all, which is really cool. And so it just makes maintenance very easy for those scenes, because water is very corrosive. It corrodes everything that it touches. As things are inside the water, it just it turns gross after a while, and so it's totally bad. So it's funny because they actually implemented that type of design to Submarine Voyage at Disneyland, Finding Nemo Submarine Voyage. So that ride's actually really cool too, is that the subs are in the water still, so they're real subs. They go through the track, but when they get to the indoor section, they go in between a glass-like canal. So there's these two walls of glass. I'm not sure how thick they are. They're pretty thick to my knowledge from when I've ridden it like a while ago. And so the boat actually sits between that, and everything else is a dry seam from there on, just to make maintenance easier. Because I can just imagine that when you shut down a ride like that, you have to repair a whole bunch of scenes, and the ride's down for a couple months, even longer, maybe a year, and then it's just out. So it's a really cool technique to kind of combat the crust, just to combat the water problem, right? Like just making sure that maintenance can be as low as possible and still have the ride up as much as possible. It's just a good idea. It's a really neat idea too. So this is kind of the same idea here with this type of build, kind of just imitating that, but this is more like an indoor park. So this park bought this roller coaster from Mack Rides, maybe the same blueprint of Max and Morty's, and then it's like, okay, well, we're just gonna build an ocean theme over it. So it's kind of what was going for. This theme was actually taking longer than it should, but it is what it is. So this is the last addition to the area. Is going to be some type of sea monster or like eel thing in the back. I wanted to kind of do some shape work again as usual. So again, it's not an Astro build without actually making a creature out of shapes. Honestly, I just need to do it. And so here it is, a eel made of cylinders stacked upon top of each other to give two different tones of colors. So the belly and the top. What's interesting about this one though is that because the angle of the wall was back there, I couldn't really work on it. So it's kind of, I should have put it on the wall last. Huh. Yeah, I should have done it last. But I'm here at this point, so I have to finish it at least. Looks good. I like most of the build so far. If I had a little bit more time maybe working on it, I would maybe do some different stuff, but I've been also very busy with work stuff and other things of world life, basically. Oh yeah, shark. I want to try to use a shark head. Didn't work out, so I had to make the head by hand again, and I feel like that would have actually worked out better because that's just cheating, I think. Just use a shark head. So on to actually using shapes again. So that's why I'm really, oh my god, I'm so excited for the vanilla build. I think it's going to be cool. I hope a whole bunch of players jump in. So I mean, at this point, like if we got like 30 entries, oh man, that would be insane. The video would have to be like an hour long. I don't know. I wonder what the coaster would be. That's the question. Because I know that Coaster Bee has to build it in vanilla as well. So that's going to be very, very interesting. I'm excited. So the sea monster, let's see here. The top of his head are made out of those dino statues from the adventure pack. I use candy pieces for his eyes and things of that nature. So yeah. And then these are teeth from, I think, the pirate mod. They're tusks. So it looks like I'm wrapping up in this video so far. So first are, well, I already talked about the tusks. So those are actually pretty nice pieces, actually. So I'm surprised that I use those pieces. Actually, I'm using more mod pieces as I use mods and things of that nature. But kind of how I think how the beast goes, right? Trying to use as much pieces as possible to output what details you want and what things you need. But yeah, I'm gonna leave you guys here, and we're gonna do a live tour of the map and try to kind of show you some details and additional details that I added, and then yeah, I'll catch you over there. Okay, here we are in DeepSea Discovery. My final, not my final build, sorry. Here's the final version of Coaster Bee's diorama for this month of September. And let me just show you some key things up in front. Just kind of just show you off some of the things. So let me start over here, the sign for DeepSea Discovery. So this is just the entrance area. So I felt like this is important because we have two queue lines, and I want to make sure that this kind of is one entrance for the guests to kind of go. And then there's a, I think that's a height requirement sign. So I kind of did some realistic things there. And then I had a fire extinguisher here, and I think I have another fire extinguisher over there just because I'm adding some realism. Actually, I might do some more stuff. Another cool realism thing was adding exit signs on the entrances of the park, because this is supposed to be an indoor park, and all indoor facilities, I think in America, and I'm assuming probably in other parts of the world, are required to have an exit sign to show where the exit is in case of emergency, because you don't want to be trapped inside a building when it's on fire. So the other things I added, I think last was the bubbles and stuff. I wanted to add some kinetic energy as something moving. There was a crazy build on the Discord called, I think it's called Pearls of the Sea or something. That's kind of an ocean theme too. Their theme is insane. Oh my gosh. But they had moving fish from, I think, the animatronic mod, and I was gonna do that too, but then I retract that because, again, this is a indoor theme park, and most of the props here are static, and we're not really underwater, so it wouldn't make any sense to build moving fish around a pole or something around these rocks, and there's like no mechanism holding it, because in game there's like no way I would be able to animate that, so I scrapped it all together. But here's the back wall of the building, so it's kind of just giving that impression that we're inside a building. And I kind of like the idea of having this backdrop here to kind of help with the whole indoor theme park type of vibe. There's a giant, I think this is a blue whale prop. So that's from the wild prop. I even forgot to even mention that, the wild prop. So let me show you what it looks like at night. Looks pretty cool at night. I did a lot of lighting shenanigans here and there, just to showcase what I can do. Because just imagine this is at nighttime, because I'm imagining that there's a skylight here or something. Kind of showcase the park. They use natural light for the daytime, and then at nighttime they have to turn on their lights. And so nighttime it looks like a completely different world, and I kind of like it. Feels very ocean-like. So a lot of blues over here. Got some oranges and whites over here, and then the path lights are lit up by these sci-fi looking lamps. I don't think they're sci-fi. I think they're from the fancy tech. They're like modern lights, but I kind of sunk them in the ground a little bit to kind of give them that look. So yeah, this is a DeepSea Adventure. Oh, sorry, no, DeepSea Discovery. DeepSea Adventure would have been a good name too. Huh, that could be a scenario. Who knows? See, again, I like doing that. Like, I think of an idea or say something accidentally, and that can be a scenario or a right idea. Who knows? But yeah, this is my entry for the Coaster Bee diorama for September. It will be on the workshop for you guys to explore, but I will probably post some pictures on Reddit and Twitter and all that good stuff. And yeah, well, thank you for watching. And I also want to thank my Patreons for also supporting me. If you want to join my Patreon, you can find the link in the description. I post some behind the scenes stuff there every once in a while. I need to try to do more. I think one of the tiers will also offer your name will be as a brick in either an American Adventure or a future theme park. I haven't done that yet. If I do it soon, I might post pictures of that as well. But yeah, so thank you for all you guys watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.